Hi, this is Arizona estate planning attorney Richard Keat. My son and I, Richard C. Keat, who's also an Arizona estate planning attorney, we prepare wills and trusts and estate plans for our clients because we want them to protect their most valuable assets, their loved ones. So what I'm going to do now is show you the contents of our estate plan when somebody hires us to prepare an estate plan with a revocable living trust. The financial power of attorney, this is where you name somebody to deal with your financial affairs if you lose your mental capacity, but it only deals with assets that are not in the trust. Now, one of the documents we prepare is called the healthcare and mental health care power of attorney. And this is where you name somebody or maybe one or two or three people who can make medical decisions if you can't. So if you're in a coma and you can't talk to your doctor and the doctor wants to know, do I operate or not operate? The doctor's going to ask the person who's named first on your list of healthcare agents. And if that person's not available, the doctor will go to person number two. And if that person's not available, the doctor goes to person number three. But this makes the decision of who's going to deal with your healthcare, the person that you've named in your healthcare document. Because if you don't have a healthcare document where you name somebody to deal with your health care, if you're unable to talk to the doctor, then that creates a scenario where there may be fighting amongst family members. Because what if, one family member says operate and the other one says don't operate? What's the doctor going to do? So we do recommend that all of our clients have healthcare powers of attorney. Yeah, there's a federal law called HIPAA, and it provides that doctors cannot get about information about patients except to people who are authorized to get that information. So if you want to make medical decisions about somebody, you can't even get information about the patient unless you have a HIPAA authorization. So when we do a healthcare power of attorney, we also do a HIPAA authorization that gives the person or people named as healthcare agents the right to get information about you from your doctor. Because the healthcare agents need to have that information in order to make an educated decision as to your healthcare. Yeah, the financial power of attorney, remember, it's only used if there's assets that are not in your trust. So one of the short-term goals after you sign your trust agreement is to make sure that you transfer all your assets to the trust. Because if you lose your mental capacity, your successor trustee or your current trustee, if you're married, has the ability to deal with all of your assets, even though you don't have your mental capacity. So the financial power of attorney is a standby document. It's there if needed, but it's only needed if you lose your mental capacity and there's one or more assets that are in your name and not in the trust. In that case, the person you've named as your agent under your financial power of attorney has the power to deal with your assets that are not in the trust. One of the documents that we give our clients is a healthcare medical directive, also known as the DNR, do not resuscitate. We don't have our clients fill it out, but we give them copies of the documents and instructions, and then it's up to our client whether to fill it out or not. But it's basically a document that says that if you are in a life-threatening condition and something happens to you, you're instructing the healthcare workers not to resuscitate you, not to bring you back to life. So that's a decision that you have to make. Now, I can tell you that I know of a situation where a man went into a hospital for a minor operation and he had a DNR, and it was on the wall of the hospital room he was in that said that he had a DNR. And his friend came over for lunch and they were eating lunch in the hospital room, and the patient started to choke because food went down the wrong way, and nobody in the hospital would help him. And he would have died if his friend wasn't there, because his friend gave him the Heimlich maneuver and saved his life. But because of that DNR, the hospital people were not going to revive him because he was choking on food that he ate. So, it's your call. If you want to do it, fine, do it, fill it out, and keep it in your red book.